Good evening, everyone. Hey, do you have ideas about how to improve the U.S. space program? Well, they actually want to hear you, and there's a contest. We'll talk about that. Blue Origin has halted all New Shepard flights to the moon, which kind of makes sense a little bit. SpaceX plans a data center constellation with 1 million units. SpaceX mergers may lead to the greatest of all IPOs, it looks like. Singapore is launching their own space agency. Meanwhile, Chinese firms want to emulate New Shepard at $548,000 a ticket. So, how did a 5-ton satellite just kind of fall off a booster? A former SpaceX astronaut discusses her NASA astronaut training, all this, and hopefully we have a guest this evening. He hasn't made it yet, but we're hoping he does. Gary Gilbert from the news desk at the Center for Space Commerce and Finance. My name is Thomas Andrew Olson, and this is The Unknown Quantity. Hey, folks. Uh, it's going to be one of those nights. It's going to be one of those nights. I sent 2 more warnings, then boom, right in the middle of the credits, I'm gone again. So don't pay any attention to me. So whatever happens, we're just going to wing it and do the best we can. And while we're doing that, remember that this show is brought to you, for good or ill, by the Center for Space Commerce and Finance. And of course, what do? We champion and strengthen emerging space startups and space adjacent enterprises worldwide through advisory, access, and advocacy. Our pitch events, world-class boot camps, and the occasional micro-grant application all help fortify startups to be better investor ready. Now, a lot of our work, especially this show, is supported by listeners like you. So if you can remember, the center is a 501c3 nonprofit. To go to our website, cscf.space/support, and go to our donate page and just push that button to put a little in the tip jar. We appreciate it very much. And so obviously my oldest space friend in the entire universe, Michael Lane, is right up there. And now he's to my left. How you doing, young man? What's going on?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm okay, other than the glitching out. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
Something else is going on. If I don't know if Sean notices this. I just did hear a text from our guest. He says, "I am waiting." I don't know what that means.
He's here. I can see him. We're good.
Yeah. Okay. Sean just said he's here. Great. So we have a guest. Yay! We have a guest. This is going to be great. What else is going on? What's up with you? What's going on?
Things are good. It's been a little bit crazy. I was sick a lot last week, so this week is all about catch up. Yeah, it's been a little bit crazy. We didn't have the same weather you did, but we did have some power outages and some glitches. So yeah. flickering. Have you lost power? It's cold.
No, I have not lost power. We did get a warning. I got a warning yesterday, an email from Duke Energy. It says, try not to use power so much between 5 and 9 a.m. Monday.
Okay. All right.
It was okay. This will be the third night coming up that we get below 30.
Okay.
But I think it starts picking up after that. And by this time next week, we should be back on a normal February pattern, which is actually rather pleasant. So, We'll figure it out. Right now, we're just hunkering down, and all the plants are in the house, and the cats can't go out, and they're going nuts. And so, it's been fun.
Right on.
So there's that going on.
Well, good. It's busy trying to build elevators on the moon. So the clock is ticking, et cetera, et cetera. So
right. I know last Friday, Sean and I were still at SpaceCon. I had to leave a little early but I did have an incredible meeting that may bode very well for the month of February for things that we've been talking about for a while. So I'm still hoping to make that announcement,
cool.
sooner than later. It could be this month. And so other than that, that's all that's been going on with me.
Let's dig into the news.
Let's take a look at the news. Yeah. Okay, so the first thing was kind of interesting. I guess NASA's looking for ideas.
Yeah.
For how to improve the space program. Of course, that's all we talk about on this show, I think.
So ask us. We've got some ideas.
We got some ideas. Well, so the rise of China has meant big implications, and so they just want to have a challenge for new ideas. And there's actually a prize purse, being for $125,000 to the best ideas. Probably take a little bit here, 5,000 here, 20,000 there, but 25,000 will be actually devoted to the best undergrad and graduate student submissions.
That's very cool.
All entrants will be required to write a 3 to 5 page white paper, explain their idea and how they would shape markets to strengthen the space economy or national security. They're due June 30th, and judging will be complete by August 15. And as an additional incentive, the best ideas will be briefed to relevant policymakers, including key members of Congress, Jared Isaacman and Salzman of the Space Force. So, and Greg Autry is talking about this. And so what's a good idea? Autry says, well, it's not a business plan.
Right.
Okay, these ideas will be shared with other people. So if you have a proprietary idea to make billions of dollars, go elsewhere. But other than that, it could be anything. And so, this is more policy oriented, I think. And ideas can come from students, supercharged space communities, employees at NASA, private companies who can't get management to listen to them.
Right? That's
us.
We know that's
They're talking about us, Michael.
Yeah.
Here we go. We should put in a 3 to 5 page white paper. Don't get Kruken to help us. He'll want money.
For sure.
Right?
He will.
I love Jeff. I love Jeff. But there's one thing I don't find here. They cited, COTS as a program to spawn private cargo. But I'm looking for all these things. Oh, here it is. There's one little link, and you have to really look to find it. It's called the Space Ideation Challenge.
Right.
And if you click that link, then you can go to apply, and you have until June to put that in. So I know there's a lot of smart people that watch our show. So get started, guys.
One of those smart people is Doug. So Doug's asking, Dr. Plata is asking the question, is this NASA asking for money or is it Autry's University? So Autry's University, Central Florida, University of Central Florida, is managing this competition, but it is NASA that's asking for the ideas. That's the way I understand it.
All right. But who's putting up the money, NASA?
I think well, that one's a little unclear about who's putting up the money. The way I read it was NASA, this was just a portal for them. That's the way I understood it, but I'm not entirely sure about that. But I'm definitely going to put in plans for elevators on the moon and logistics hubs at L1. And I think Plata should put in Mars, right? Yep. I mean, there are legit ideas that have never bubbled to the surface in this industry that are good ideas. They're not going to get funded by NASA, but should become national policies. So whether that's all the cult projects, the elevators and data centers, all of those things should go up there. And out of the box ideas. Right?
For me, if I did this, if I applied, I would say, look, I think of Artemis right now as a kind of a cult project. So I think we just need to be honest about the unsustainability of that program. It's going to get us back to the moon quickly, and that's great and good for them. I can't wait to see it. But it's not sustainable if you want a full-time human presence on the moon for all mankind. And so we need to be public about where and how the end game takes place.
Yeah.
That'd be my only suggestion. So I can't write a 3 to 5 page white paper about that. I can just, here it is.
I think you probably could. I think you could.
Yeah, but 4 of those pages would be good. I don't want to bore anybody.
Well, you could take that same idea that the Texas Space Commission did, and they have that become a national plan that all states in the country operate something like that. That would be great. Or re-engage the SBIR program, which has been canceled. That would be a good one. Like there's a lot of good ideas out there that
absolutely. It was at the conference the other day. There were some folks talking unofficially about trying to do a similar kind of thing, like the Texas Space Commission in Florida. Once we get Bob, the new head of Space Florida, on the show, I think maybe we can ask him about that possibility. I also talked to someone from the Texas Space Commission. I told you at the conference last Friday afternoon, and warned her we're coming back.
And adding a zero.
We're adding everything, including a zero. So
it is, somebody in LinkedIn is saying, I think it's about policy ideas. I definitely think that's correct.
Yep.
But these things that we're talking about, the big ideas that we're talking about, retired Lieutenant Colonel Garretson, now Dr. Garretson, he just made it official a couple days ago. Dr. Garretson has been talking about a North Star vision for the United States for at least 5 years. Like one thing, in the same way that we go to the moon, land, and safely return, that was a North Star vision. There is no North Star vision for America's space program. Not really. And that, I think that would be great. So that would be a terrific policy item of just, articulate that this is XYZ, fill in the blank, the North Star vision. That would be go a long ways. So
absolutely. On that note, let's move on. Okay, just a quick blurb. Obviously, this has been all over the news for days now. Every other news item is this, which is that Blue Origin halted their New Shepard flights so they could focus solely on
they could focus solely on going to the moon. I have some doubts about that. Honestly, I'm a little surprised by that. It's not like they can't do it. They can't do both things. I feel like that feels really strange to me to come out and say, they're able to be technically proficient to go to the moon, but joyrides into the sky every couple weeks or every couple months is beyond them. That seems really a weird thing to declare. So I don't necessarily agree with this decision. I think it's going to be bad for them. And how many people are sick of me saying that Blue Origin's my favorite space company? But it is, and they're making me mad right now.
Well, here's one. I'm gonna throw this one in. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, Sean. I'm gonna have to throw this in out of order. But I think it's just appropriate that it's interesting that Blue Origin said we're not going to do New Shepard flights for a couple of years, and right almost the same day, a private Chinese firm has said, "Well, we want to emulate Blue Origin's New Shepard program and start offering tourist flights for about a little over $500,000 a pop."
Right. Yeah.
Is somebody missing a bet here? What's going on?
Definitely. I mean, this is the group we talked about on Thursday last week. They've sold it to a couple celebrities, a couple whatever the Beijing equivalent of Hollywood is. They've sold some of these things, and good on them for doing it. We talked about point-to-point suborbital versus tourism. But I mean, come on. Our best example, Blue Origin, quits the week after China steps in and says, "Yeah, we'll do that. That's a good plan for us."
Yeah,
I really think that's a terrible decision.
it sounds awkward. It just sounds awkward at this point, but we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Maybe Blue Origin will be so successful with their lunar lander that everyone will conveniently forget a year from now that oh, they used to be in the suborbital tourism business. I don't know, or they'll focus on doing orbital stuff and start putting people on top of New Glenns,
Yeah,
which would be, as far as the upgrading of the private
right,
tourism thing
right,
goes, that
right,
might be okay. They might
right,
be forgiven for that.
right.
You know, hell, I mean, that'd be if I had that, if I won the Powerball, yeah, I would go.
I would,
Um,
for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, so next up, I know we did out of order. But next up, we'll go back because I want to get this. We actually have a guest, so I want to go on. So SpaceX plans a data center satellite constellation, and they're asking to do 1 million units. Now, as our friend Shubber Ali mentioned on LinkedIn today, he looked at that and he had to say, I think we have to remind Elon that it's a different thing it's a completely different matter to make the reservation and keep the reservation,
Right,
like renting a car.
right,
You
right.
you make the reservation, but then you have to claim it and keep it and get that thing okayed. So right now he's just making the reservation and hoping he gets it.
This is not any different than China's lawfare tactics, where they say when they talk about setting up a fleet of 200,000
Mm-hmm.
satellites. The
Right.
PowerPoints are strong, and they give you weight in the legal community when you're like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, I'm in planning and development."
Right. But
Um,
clearly, they're both asking the same space rental agency for permission to have a particular spot in a particular orbital path, just like they do with geosatellites.
yeah,
And as Sean says, it's a blocking
it's a
move.
blocking move, absolutely, and it's a very tactically accurate, useful blocking move. It also says what we have been talking about for a while, that the Connex box shipping container style vision of data centers is kind of ridiculous. But 1 million of them means that there's lots of refrigerator sized systems, which is very viable now. So
Sure.
that I think that's probably going to work. And then it's not in your news list, but SpaceX announced yesterday, over the weekend, which felt odd. I saw it over the weekend, that they were creating something called StarGuard, which is an in-space tracking system of the global LEO networks. Oh, not just LEO, the whole orbital networks.
I did hear that. Yeah.
And that is a game changer. So of course they're going to have onboard compute. It's a natural for what they are already doing. So good for them. Fingers crossed.
Yep.
Wes is like, yep, they're paper satellites. It would not surprise me if this constellation turns into something real. It would not.
Okay.
They got real money behind this one. So yeah.
And it looks like we're going. It's the next thing coming up is that this is going to be the mother of all IPOs, probably.
Right.
It's coming up because now SpaceX, Tesla, and XAI
Yeah.
are now in talks to merge, and this just adds to they plug everything into one big IPO. It's going to be huge, and you may never see something like this again in your lifetime. What do you think about that?
Right. Yeah. Well, AI was it XAI officially transferred in today, so that happened just a few hours ago. So that really did happen. Tesla, we don't have any indication of if that is going to happen or if it's in motion or not. That still seems a little bit on the hype side of things. But XAI did officially transfer out as of a few hours ago, Space News reported it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I've never seen anything like this before. All of my friends are asking me if they should invest. I'm like, I don't think you're able to, because this is going to be one of those scooped up insider only kind of investments, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, you accredited, I'm sure, to get on it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And as a result of this, by the way, Oracle just announced that they're looking to raise $50 billion in a new offering because of this. Like they actually Larry Ellison actually credited the SpaceX IPO as a reason for why he was going to go out and try.
Everybody's doing this now. Again, it shows we were way ahead of our time. In 1999, I was looking at, raising $50 billion to build space companies. Everyone thought I was, shit crazy. And here we are.
Yeah. So it's been interesting. I think that, we don't know when this this mother of all IPOs is going to happen. They're already in talks. They've been flirting with companies to do the paperwork. So it's happening.
Well, that's the one thing I want to mention about this. We have to move on because, but I wanted to say before I got cut off again, it's like the fourth time already tonight. And so here's the thing. The one group that's really been silent about all these giant fundraisers and IPOs has been the regulators.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody from the SEC is saying a peep about this.
Huh.
You'd think they would try to at least curb their enthusiasm a little bit. Just to keep it real.
Curious. You're right. I had not noticed that, but you're right. That is not a thing I've been hearing about.
Yeah. So on that note, I'm going to skip ahead to the end because we're getting close. We've done the catch up. We only had two left. I'm going to do the last one because it's a good lead in for our guest here in a minute. There was a story here about. This what is this woman's name again? Anna Menon.
Yep.
Anna Menon, and she was an Axiom. She was a private astronaut candidate. She's former SpaceX, and she's discussed training as an astronaut candidate, and so. She's been going back and forth on all this stuff. She spent 7 years as a biomedical flight controller for ISS program, and that included leading biomed operations for Expedition 4748 crew in 2016 and overseeing astronaut health during 2 spacewalks. And she brought a lot of perspective into the work that she does now, and that's how her background helped her as an astronaut. So astronaut health has been in the spotlight, of course, recently. And there's a picture of her and her friend there with all her hair, flying. I love big hair and zero G. It just it's so fun.
Yeah.
But she also served as a crew operations and resource corps member, communicating with crew members in space, basically a Capcom of sorts. And so, she had she's now an official NASA astronaut candidate. She's been through 2 years involving everything from prepping to do spacewalks and using the big pool and flying in jets to learn crew resource management and technical systems and a lot of things like this. She's had quite a ride coming up. And so, which is a great inspiration towards, of course, other women and girls everywhere.
Yeah.
To have build these kind of careers, which leads into our guest tonight. Gary Gilbert has also been a kind of a man about town. He's done a lot of things over many, many years in space, but he's also a successful author. And he just published a book very recently, which is called Space Girl. 21 women write about their careers on Earth in the space industry. I think this is going to be a must read for a lot of up and coming young women and girls who want to look at careers in the space industry and do not be, scared at that idea. Just go out and go for it. And so let's have him on here right now. Gary, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm glad you're here.
Good to see
What
you.
gave you the idea for this book?
I attended ISU, International Space University, back in 2011 to 2012. And we actually got to go on a separate trip to the, I guess you could say, the Russian counterpart.
Okay.
We actually got to go. I've actually been closer to a Russian spaceship than I have an American one. But one of the ladies that I was in class with, pretty much I wanted to help her go, but she wasn't able to because of some budget reasons. And so I figured, hey, I'll put together this and I'll contribute as much as possible. I've been saying 95% once it goes positive. And just to get more and more women, actually get girls 6th to 12th grade more interested in the STEM and science fields.
Love that. Give us a little bit about your origin story.
Well, originally, I wanted to be an astronaut, but I didn't. Way back then, you had to have perfect vision and be a pilot and all this other stuff. And it's through the years, I did other things. Finally, at the age of 50, I went to school at ISU. And over the last few years, I've been doing some other things, mainly logistics and post office and stuff like that. And finally, 2023, I think it was, or 2022, somewhere in there, I decided that, hey, you better get this done if you want to get it done. And I kept putting stuff off and everything. So I decided to reach out, based on some of the contacts I had, and got 21 women to provide their stories. And my goal is to get it in at least one copy in every school, elementary through high school, 6th to 12th grade, hopefully within a few years. It's been a slow process, but if I could just get one copy, I think that'd make a big difference.
That'd be huge. That'd be great.
I will say I was at the ISDC conference as one of the vendors and sold my book. And I was told there was roughly 1,200 or so attendees. Roughly 200 of them were high school age and college age. And I think I only talked to maybe one or two, maybe three people that were actually actually from the United States. The majority of them were from countries that I didn't even know had a space program.
Wow.
Like Macedonia. One of the ladies in the book is from Macedonia, and so I just, I just feel it needs to be done. Not everyone wants to be or can be, for various reasons, be an astronaut. But as you know, what came out with the Hidden Figures movie, if it hadn't have been for the people behind the scenes, John Glenn wouldn't have gone where he went. And
right.
My thought is, if this book gets into the hands of a 6th to 7th, 8th grade girl, and maybe it's not her, but maybe her granddaughter is the one that's developing, what we consider warp drive today. I mean,
right.
We don't know.
Nobody knows for sure, and I'll never see it, but based on my beliefs, I believe that I will know about it.
Right on.
Yeah.
So this is your second book, right? So let's talk about the first one and let's talk about the second one.
Well, actually, This is technically the second try
Okay.
of the first book.
Okay.
Okay. I
I,
didn't.
ran,
Okay.
I ran into
I thought I missed something here.
no. I ran into a problem that I won't go into,
Okay.
and so um,
It's a
had to-
retry.
I had to retry and start it again.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. That's really neat. So let's talk about some of the stories, some of the women that you met. I'm sure it's inspired you. So tell us a little bit about it.
Well, one of them is Sharon McDougall. She's sued up with Shay. She has her own children's book out, but she also was the lady that helped suit up Mae Jameson, Dr. Mae Jameson.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s.
Right.
There's a couple of them of the ladies.
She was just so everybody knows, Dr. Jemison was the first Black woman astronaut, and she credits Star Trek as her inspiration for getting into space. She particularly credits Uhura as one of the people that got her into space. So she's a remarkable woman. So the person that wrote your story essay, they worked with Dr. Jemison?
Right. They helped her get suited, or she helped get Mae Jameson suited up to go out into space. There's another a few other people. There's, like I said, 21. One I went to school with at ISU way back in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And then just I think it's the space. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Shelley Brunswick is
Oh,
also
yeah.
is that also one of the contributors. There's 2 or 3 of them that are here in town that are working the Artemis program. One's a QA person, making sure that every bolt is tightened to the right, torque and all that. And it's just, the women behind the scenes that I thought needed their story told.
That's very cool. I actually taught Shelley Brunswick came through the executive space course when it was out here in Seattle, and I taught her, for 2 or 3 classes. So she's part of the ISU alum community through the executive space course. And when I knew her, she's not there now, she's retired, but when I knew her, she was the executive director of the Space Foundation out in Colorado. So not necessarily a young gal, but an important story and an important leader in the space community.
I actually met her at the 2023 SpaceCom conference. I just walked up to her and told her what I was doing, and she thought about it and got back with me and gave me her story. Like I said, there's 19 other ladies, and it's just to get them interested, to get the younger group, 6th to 12th grade interested. I will say also that I think it's International Women's Day in March. I'm going to have at Times Square, going to have an advertisement for the book.
Fun.
So, I'll be sending that information out as soon as I get it. And hopefully I'll be able to go up. I'm not sure, based on other commitments. I may or may not be able to. But it's just, I guess I went to the KSC Visitor Center, and every book there, well, 99.9% of them are about the astronauts, which is understandable. But then, you got, people that are definitely making stuff happen,
Mhm.
behind the scenes.
Mhm.
Right now you got, a female director of NASA, KSC, who filled in or who was the acting director of NASA for a while, Janet Petro.
Yep.
And then you have a female, what do you call it, launch director. And there's other female, directors at other different facilities. So I just think that they all need to have I guess I'm trying to blow their horn for them, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
Sure.
I thought it was great. I don't know how you got him to do this, but they all those stories. I did go through all the stories. They were all written in the first person,
Right.
and that was a great great look. That was a great trick.
Right. Yeah. I don't really consider myself an author. I'm an anthologist.
Okay.
I told the ladies that, hey, you write it how you write it. I'm not going to sit there and edit it other than, commas and stuff like that for punctuation. But if you want to do it, whichever way you want to do it, I'm not going to make any changes. And there were a few small changes, like I said, commas and stuff like that. But everybody saw what was going to be published. And before it was published, and I said, if you have any changes whatsoever, let me know. And people came back and said this or that or whatever, and so it's been a labor of love. I'm, like I said, trying to get everything in there so that it helps more and more ladies get to schools, get to the positions.
Okay.
Because
Oh, I am curious to know, given how this was done. I'd like to go. How long did it take? What did it take to get to be? First, you have to find these women, and then you have to approach them, and you have to ask them to do this, and then you kind of work with them, and you got to compile something into a finished product and get it off to a publisher. What was that total process from beginning to end? How long did it take?
Roughly about a year, 15 months to get the first one together,
Okay.
which got published. But like I said, I have some copies sitting in my closet right now that, won't never see the light of day. But it was another probably 3 or 4 months before the second one came out, because I wanted to make sure that, I'd be good with everything legally, and
Sure.
everybody was happy with it,
Right. I have one of those books on the shelf here that is never going to see the light of day. Right. It was my fault every step of the way. The thing was a chaotic mess, and I'm like, yeah, I need a do-over for that book. So there's probably not 500 of them in the world anymore. And our publisher went out of business. We were the last book that they published. I mean, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. And they published the wrong version. So if there's like, we're in the editing process, they published if this is final, they published the 4th from final version. So this edit and this edit and this edit and this edit, all of those things, instead of publishing the final version, they published the 4th from final version, and they printed thousands of those things, and thousands of those things went out to Barnes and Nobles across the country, and then we had to ask for them back, and the publisher went out of business. It was a gigantic fiasco.
So there was that much difference between the 4th and the final.
Oh yeah, there was.
Okay.
There
All right.
was. Oh, for sure there was.
Hmm.
I'll bring you a copy someday. You'll get one of those. I call it my stamp that's the plane is turned upside down. Yeah, it's one of those. Like nobody should have a cup book. It's that bad. So I'm sorry that you went through it. I'm sorry you went through it, but I personally know what it's like to get that messed up. Um, so the reset was about 4 months then when you reestablished it.
Yeah, it actually, yeah, about 4 months. It actually went live October of 2024,
Okay.
and I really pushed or tried to push it in 2025, but it didn't go as, it's been a slow process.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, well, what was the reactions when you approach a gal to be a part of this? What do they think about all this?
I got various varied reactions. A couple of them are like, I don't have any story to tell. I'm like, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
They, for whatever reason, didn't think that their story needed to be told. Um, and then there was others that were like, yeah, sure, that's a great idea. I'm going to send you, my, because I asked for 12 to 1,500 words, and and I think I asked maybe 50 or 60,
Okay.
and some said yes, some said no, some actually had said yes, didn't send them, and finally I got to a point I'm like, hey, I needed X amount.
Right.
I was shooting for 25. I actually, if you have a copy of the first one, which hopefully you don't,
I do. From
there were
ISTC in the springtime. Yep.
there were 20 people that one, and I actually reached out to somebody here in town, and she's like, hey, I'll help you, try to get some more people, and I ended up getting a total of 21.
God, great. That's great. Yeah. I I also have a copy of a bunch of. I collect books. I don't know if we've ever talked about that, but I got that shelf and that shelf. That one's really full, and then this shelf, and each of them. These are either old, 50, 60, 70-year-old. Most of them. Some of them are older than that. Lots of space books, lots of signed space books. But I also have a collection of gallows and misprints and things like that. So,
Cool.
I've got yours. I don't know exactly where it is, but I got your signature on it from ISCC in the spring. So,
Oh, okay.
I'll get another one, and then I'll put both of them together and consider the first one the gallows copy. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Here's something of the 21 stories that you published. Which one surprised you the most? Yep, you weren't expecting that.
Give me a second,
Okay,
please.
there's got to be one of them. I don't know, those 21 says, "Whoa, I didn't know that."
Actually, can I say her name, or should I say her?
I mean, your call. Your call.
Yeah, it's your interview, man.
I'm going to say Martina, and I'm not sure if I'm saying this right. Dominska.
Timotska. Okay.
Timoska.
Yeah.
She's actually from Macedonia. Like I said, I didn't even know they had a space program.
Right.
And she also, I guess, comes to the States a lot. So I never know where she's going to be when I get in touch with her. But just her story and how she got interested in the whole space industry or space, wanting to do what she's doing. She's gone to University of North Dakota,
Oh,
and
just
has done a few other things, related. The space app, she helps with that a lot. And it's just the fact that that she was able to do it in a country that I thought was still part of not part of Russia, but over there close to it.
Mm-hmm.
Not that that's good or bad. I'm just saying I never knew that they even had that type stuff.
Right.
Okay.
So, but a few others. There's one other that she's a retired Air Force enlisted quality person, and she also, let me say, Air Force Reserve quality person, and she also works for NASA. And she's, she told me, and in the story, she tells me that, the Air Force wasn't even a thing for her, after college or whatever, or during college. But she just decided, somebody said something about it. She looked into it and then, took it and ran with it,
Right on.
So,
Okay.
Did your Navy career influence you to get into space?
no.
No. The only thing that I got out of the Marine Corps that got me to space was spreadsheets. It seemed like a long ways from there. So I was just curious.
Yeah, joining the Navy, my dad had retired from the Navy as a submariner. My uncle had retired as air crew. I actually joined in 1980 because I had bombed in college. I had a 1 point something grade point average at the University of Georgia. And let's just say I was doing things that I shouldn't have been doing, meaning partying
Right.
and drinking.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
And not studying because I was busy doing other things.
Right.
And it's kind of a weird situation. I waited till everybody registered for classes for the January, February, and March quarter of 1980 and went to talk to my my counselor. And she was like, "Oh, well, you'll have to reapply for admission." And I'm like, "Oh, wow." So I got upset, walked out the door, got in my car, was driving back to my apartment. And as I was driving back to my apartment, the engine threw a rod.
Rains
So I
of gourd, man. Yeah.
So I called my parents up right before Christmas of 1979, and they came and got me early February 1980. I'm in boot camp, mainly because I was afraid that I'd be stuck in my hometown and would never leave and all that good stuff.
Yep, I know that one.
And the first night there, we had to send 3 letters. They didn't care who.
Right.
We had to send 3. I sent one to my mom and dad, and then one to my grandparents. And I couldn't think of who to do the last one to, so I sent a formal withdrawal from college from Navy boot camp. And if anybody's gone through any boot camp before knows in the Navy, they call it a work week. It's the 5th week, and it's really, really hard, the hardest week, I guess you could say.
Sure.
And I got a letter back saying, had you reapplied, you would have been accepted. And I'm like,
Oh,
dang. So,
oops.
yeah, so that was, let's just say the gate got very close.
Right.
I almost went, what's
Right.
called unauthorized
Right.
absence.
Sure.
But
How
my
wild.
dad retired and my uncle retired, and I couldn't go home, and
Right.
do
Yeah.
that type of stuff. So
Right.
anyway, and then life happened.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you because I think we met years ago during your first foray into space advocacy, and then sorry, you took a break for a number of years, and then all of a sudden you're back again, and you're getting involved in ISDC and doing other things, in the space community.
Right.
What brought you back, and what do you hope to get now? What do you hope to do as part of the community again? Because we're here for you, Gary. We want to help.
Well, I originally moved to Florida 20 plus years ago, 20 years ago now, to get a job at the space program. And I actually ended up working for SpaceX through a third party back in 2016, but it wasn't really the job I wanted. So I went and did other things. At this point, like I said, I actually turned 65 in a couple of weeks. And I'm like, I need to go do what I want to go do, when I can, how I can. So at this point, one is to get the book out there. Two is I have an idea that I want to get on TEDx. I call it the 2525 Project. And I appreciate you giving me the information about that initiative that you were talking about earlier, because I'm going to try to put something together for that. But I just want to be like an advocate. I remember in 1979 when I graduated from high school, the movie or this TV show Space 1999.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's 20 years. We can have that done in 20 years. We went to the moon in 10. We can do this in 20. And how long has it been now? 50.
Right.
I personally think that we, as a nation, as a society, as a world, have the wrong priorities. And I want to be able to get out there and help be an advocate to do that. I mean,
great.
So
now, having said that, with all now that you're kind of back in and you're exploring what's going on, you're finding out everything, and you're trying to get involved. This is what we call the 525 question. What do you see our whole community looking like about 5 years from now, and maybe 25 years from now?
Whoa.
Right.
I know.
Well, I will say that by 5 years, I think that we need to have, I don't want to say sustainable, but a definitely game plan to move forward. I think over the last 10 or 15 years, we really haven't. It's all based on the money that can be spent or that can be gotten, up in DC. It just, but that would be the first thing, is to have a concrete plan that couldn't be changed, except if it needed to be changed for any other reason except who's in power. We're sitting, I think the money that we spend needs to be better allocated. When I was in school years ago, we spent roughly, I think, $18 billion, on the space program, the NASA program that year. which equaled to about half of a penny out of the whole budget.
Right.
Okay, we spend billions. Not that anything's wrong with this, but we spend billions for Halloween, for various holidays that Mother's Day, Father's Day, stuff like that. And I think that money can be spent better on stuff that is actually going to benefit the world.
Move the world forward a little bit. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah. And then you don't even want to get me started with the stuff that's going on now. So, but 25 years from now, I'd say we need to have an actual presence for sure on Mars and heading past.
With your book specifically, what do you want to see out of it 5 years from now, and 25 years from now? Like, participation from women in the space sector or something like that.
5 years from now, I would say that to have at least a copy in every school.
Okay.
There's something like, I want to say 40 or 50,000 schools in the United States alone. Maybe 30,000 of those are 6th grade and up. So I'd want at least one copy in their libraries in every school. Okay. I'd like to have every library and every museum and observatories, various other places, to have it in 5 years. That's the original goal. 25. Whoa. I'm not sure what the actual percentage of women in the industry is now, but I'd say at least double that in 25 years.
Okay. Well, and especially if your book is actually helping inspire women and girls from school to pursue STEM careers and pursue space work, that would be a really great thing. That'd be a great legacy for you, to get that done.
Right.
Are there any other books in the pipeline you want to talk about? Do you have anything else you're working on?
Not really. I've thought about a few that aren't space related, but I probably will be pushing those off to work on this in the 25-25 project, which I'm in the process of trying to get all together at the moment. I wanted to get it together last year, so it would be from 2025 to 25-25, right. But I wasn't able to get it just based on various other reasons.
Isn't that song?
But overall, I actually thought about putting together a series of books similar to the Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Okay. I think you mentioned that one. Yeah. I like that. Absolutely.
I'll reach out and let you know some of the ideas I had. I've actually reached out to a couple of people and say, hey, here's my idea. If you like it, take it, run with it. I'm serious, because at this point in my life, it's not about, trying to make, be the next,
right,
Elon Musk or whatever. If, like I said, if one girl reads this book and, 25, 30, 40, 50, 100 years later, something happens, or, because her grandmother or her great grandmother was, interested in space, and she comes up with, warp drive, then I will have, left a good legacy. That's what I'm trying to say.
And that is a great legacy. And on that, our time is up. But Gary Gilbert, author extraordinaire, compiler, historian, and just general good guy. thank you for coming on the show. And are you going to be going to ISDC this year?
As of right now,
Okay.
yes.
Then I hope to see you there.
I'm actually going to be submitting to be a speaker. So.
Okay, good. Okay, please do. All right, Gary, thank you for coming, and we'll see you again soon.
All right, thank you.
Okay, guys, our guest for Thursday is agricultural scientist and founder of Growmars, Daniel Tompkins.
Great.
As always, I know he's great. 8 p.m. Eastern from the news desk at the Center for Space Commerce and Finance. For Michael Lane and Sean Key, I am Thomas Andrew Olson. Keep watching the skies.